Hi everyone, Manuela Marchegianni from Isomers Skincare. Welcome to our channel. This is a channel where we talk about the science of skincare from a cosmetic chemist and a manufacturing point of view. If you hear a little bit of noise in the background, we are an actual manufacturing laboratory, so you may hear the machines every once in a while. Just an FYI. Today we're going to talk about my top 5 anti-inflammatory ingredient. The first one is ceramides. Ceramides are an anti-inflammatory ingredient for a lot of reasons. First of all, ceramides are naturally occurring in your skin. Ceramides are sphingolipids, and ceramides help protect the skin barrier function. So they are the lipids or fats that actually help keep the skin barrier intact. So when you think about your skin like a brick wall. Okay, so you have bricks and mortar. So you've got the brick itself and you have the cement. That cement is really when you think about a ceramide, that's what it is. So not only does it actually help with keeping the skin cells together, it also helps with the layering. And this is really important. So it has that function of cellular organization, the layering, and it also has the function of adhesion. And why is that important? That's important because it's going to protect your skin barrier from environmental stressors, from getting in and irritating and breaking down the skin. It also helps prevent a lot of things coming out that should kind of hold or be maintained within the skin. Redness, inflammation is always a reaction to something negative or stressful on the skin. So you want to take that stress out, you want to take that inflammation out, and the ceramides are one of the key ingredients that help do that and help really with that barrier function. The best way to use ceramides in your routine is actually have a moisturizer with ceramides or lipids in. And I usually like it in the moisturizing phase, not the serum phase, unless it's an oily serum. And the reason is this, because when you're thinking about your skin care layering, you're going to cleanse, so you take everything away and cleanse and exfoliate or treat your skin. You put your serums on, maybe you've got some antioxidants in there, maybe you've got some collagen peptides, that's the active. Then you go into the protection, okay? So you're going to have 2 types of protection. One is going to be like your skin barrier protection with the ceramides, so a cream with ceramides. And look for good quality ceramides, well-formulated ceramides. Usually there is a trio of ceramides that are combined together in a formulation that create the best results. It doesn't have to be a heavy product, but it does have to be an efficient product. So that will go on as your cream step or moisturizer step. Then you could follow up with a sunscreen and makeup. So that's literally where you would put your ceramides in the daytime, and at nighttime it would probably be your end result or your last product that you put on your skin. Because again, it is a lipid. It's got a fat component. You want your fats to sit in that really happy area on top and kind of within that first layer of skin, because that's part of the security. It's part of the barrier. The next ingredient is niacinamide. Niacinamide is a vitamin B3. And this is really important because the B vitamins are all about stress. They're the anti-stress vitamins. So niacinamide is a really good ingredient because it does take away the stress. It helps to calm things down, takes away inflammation, takes away the redness. Niacinamide is also great too because it helps with sebum. So if you happen to have oily skin and you happen to have a lot of very active skin, that was one of my issues too. The skin is very active. And when your skin is very active, it's creating a lot of oil. There's a lot of bacteria there. So it's basically a food factory for the bad bacteria or the acne bacteria to feast on. And this is where you get a lot of inflammation, because what happens is that microbiome on your skin, there should be a balance between the good and bad bacteria. And when the bad bacteria is very well served, like with a lot of sebum, that actually adds in the inflammation because there's not an equilibrium or there's no peace between the good and bad bacteria. So the role of niacinamide is great because niacinamide helps to balance that out by the sebum, right? So it's an antioxidant that's going to help protect against free radical damage, which also can cause inflammation. It's also sebum regulator, which is really important. So it helps to regulate the food source, if you will, for the bad bacteria. It also helps with the pores as well, because pores tend to get built up a lot when there's extra sebum or heaviness of the sebum in there. It also has another function, which I really like too, and it has a brightening function. So it's part of the antioxidant property, but it's also part of its own property too, that it has this brightening effect, especially when the skin tends to be duller or more on the yellow side, when it starts to have more of that kind of pasty kind of look to it. This is a really great ingredient. You should be using it at a level of, over 2%, around the 5% mark is ideal for a lot of those anti-aging and also anti-inflammatory benefits. How to use niacinamide. Niacinamide can be used in a couple of ways. It can be present in serums and it can be present in creams. You can run the risk of using too much niacinamide if you're going with a very high dose niacinamide daytime and nighttime. It's not a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of. It's not like it has a toxicity level that I know of at this point, that it's too much on your skin. But I would, optimally, I would suggest using a formulation that's around a 5% mark in the daytime and in the nighttime, just to boost that antioxidant and really keep your skin from being oversensitized or inflamed. The next ingredient I really like for inflammation is vitamin E. And the reason why I like vitamin E, and this is like D-alpha tocopherol or tocopherol. The reason why I like vitamin E is, one, it is an antioxidant, and that's going to help with the inflammation. It also is a fat source, okay? So it is a lipid source. A lot of the other ones that we've mentioned are a light lipid like the ceramides, or you have like a water kind of base like niacinamide. This one, being a fat source, is really good because it's going to help with the moisturization. It's going to help with the skin barrier function. It takes away the redness. Vitamin E is, though, tricky. And the reason why it's tricky is there's many forms of vitamin E. So you want the right isomer. You want the right component. That's why you should look for D-alpha tocopherol in your formulations when you're using a good quality vitamin E. That is also going to work on the redness or the inflammation of the skin, help calm that skin down. The best way to use it is going to be as part of a formulation in your moisturizer. So you're going to see it, you should see it there. If you are using formulas made for sensitive skin or for angry, irritated skin, a little bit of vitamin E is great. It has a lot of functions for your skin, and it's a really great ingredient for inflammation. The best way to incorporate vitamin E into your routine, I like it as part of an existing formulation. So, okay, there's one way that's really great is if you're doing it with your vitamin C. So if you do your vitamin C with your vitamin E and ferulic, that is a great way to incorporate your vitamin E. The other is in your cream. So if you have a cream that is your moisturizing cream, your night cream, your hydration cream, your treatment cream, take a look and see if you can actually have that more active antioxidant protection in there for sensitive skin or for inflammation. So it should have some D-alpha tocopherol in there. And I like it as personally, I like it as my last step, especially when I tend to have sensitivity. I love zinc oxide because as a mom with children, when you're changing their nappies, and you'll notice that they have maybe some diaper rash or some redness or some chafing or some irritation on those sensitive body parts, their bum, whatever, or they have dryness on flakiness on the scalp or other parts of the body. So what's happening is that, especially like diaper area, you have uric acid that's kind of irritating the skin and breaking down that skin barrier. So you're seeing this inflammation, you see this redness, you see this kind of rash, right? So the formulation of a diaper rash cream deals with the inflammation, the pain, the aggressive nature of what's happening to the skin. So you want something that's going to stick onto the skin, right? And it's going to protect the skin, but it's also going to be very soothing immediately because you want that pain kind of threshold to stop. So sometimes when you have irritation and inflammation, you've got something very active. I always go for zinc oxide. This is where I started to learn about utilizing it really well, right? So, life really teaches you a lot of things, and I'm just fortunate enough I can take it into the laboratory and expand on it. But zinc oxide is one of the actives in diaper rash cream. So what does zinc oxide do? Right? Zinc oxide is going to calm, it's going to soothe, it's going to help with that skin barrier function, but it does it in a very, very good way. It helps the skin rebuild itself very quickly. So one of the tricks, and one of my favorite kind of tricks, chapped lip, wintertime. If you're licking your lips and you've got really chapped lips or hands, or you've got some body part that's really irritated, maybe you've over exfoliated, you've done something, you really, really damaged your skin. One of my tricks for this inflammation, to calm it down overnight, right? It's not something you would do in the daytime because you kind of do look obvious. You take some zinc oxide, diaper rash cream, with 5%, so it has to be the medicated 5% zinc oxide. Take that, put it on, dab it on that area, go to bed, wake up in the morning. You might have a little bit of whiteness still left on you, but rub that off or wash that off. You will find your skin kind of rebuilds itself. It works that quickly. It works that efficiently. So that's one of my favorite ingredients or favorite go-tos for inflammation, especially that emergency kind of relief that you need for your skin. It is more of a spot treatment, but it's a really great thing to have in your beauty tool bag when you need it. The next ingredient that's really good for anti-irritation or for anti-inflammatory or for inflammation or redness on the skin is oatmeal. Oatmeal is really great because oatmeal has beta-glucans in there, and these help to normalize and help to take away. First, there's a lot of heat that it can actually dissipate and take out. Second, it has a very normalizing and rebuilding effect. So oatmeal is really great. Now, you can get it in a couple of ways. You can actually make oatmeal, plain oatmeal, organic plain oatmeal with good, clean, quality water if you want, and you can actually make a paste and put it on some irritated skin and make a mask if you want. That's one option of doing it that way, but it has to be cooked, right? You can't just use raw oatmeal, grind it up. If you do that, you're going to end up with more of an exfoliant as opposed to an anti-inflammatory. So you want it wet because you want the beta-glucans to come out, and that's going to be part of the colloidal element that's going to actually help reinforce and calm your skin down. One trick, and this is, I'm going to sneak in another anti-inflammatory ingredient that I really, really like, is chamomile. One trick is to make chamomile tea and put the oatmeal in that and create a mask. That is that's a really, really good way of calming down any kind of redness or irritation or inflammation. So the best way to use those would be chamomile with oatmeal. See, I'm sneaking 2 in there. I said 5, but I couldn't do it without the chamomile as well, because chamomile has such great properties of anti-inflammatory for the skin. So it's a very good partner with your oatmeal. Again, this isn't probably something that's going to be part of a regular routine. If you do find them, you will find them more in a cream phase. I would use them in the moisturizer part of a skin treatment. But my favorite way to use those is to actually make a mask and actually be able to take the 10-15 minutes a couple of times a week to put it onto those areas and really address any kind of inflammation or irritation that way. So there you have it. Anti-inflammatory ingredients, how to use them, what they're good for, what to look for. When you have redness or irritation in the skin, it is your skin screaming, shouting at you, telling you there's a problem. So it's really important. It's probably the most important thing to deal with in skincare in general is any kind of inflammation or irritation. Because truly, it's like us. When we're angry or when we're so stressed out, We need to deal with that emotion first. We need to deal with that state first before we can do anything else. Because anything else we do at that point, when we're in that state, we're not going to do properly. We're not going to study properly. We're not going to communicate properly. You're probably not going to exercise properly. You're not going to do those things properly. You can't deal because you're not thinking, because everything is gone to dealing with that one state. Your skin is the same. When your skin is inflamed or red, everything is going in to help with that. So if you can go in and address that, then you can start working on the other elements. Then you can start working on the hydration, you can work on the brightness, you can work on different things. So inflammation is something that you should always deal with first. Make sure your skin is in the right zone and happy and not out of balance. Hope you enjoyed our discussion on anti-inflammatory ingredients and redness, and I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you so much for tuning in.